And so, of course, I jump at the opportunity and I'm like, oh, a fucking 2 hour flight there and a 2 hour flight back for the price of my meat subscription, dude. For the price of my meat subscription, I can go to fucking Mexico for 10 days and get there in 2 hours. All right. Welcome back, man. Welcome back to this fucking circus show. I'm just gonna assume that everything looks good this time around, man. Fuck, what's going on, man? I just woke up like, I didn't wake up like this, but I woke up maybe like a half hour ago, took a shower, and I've got to do this fucking podcast and then eat breakfast like I'm a fucking rat on that fucking spinning thing before I get to work because, boundaries were set and boundaries were not respected. And that's just the life. That's just the life that I lead, Yeah, man. That's also, I don't even know why it's my own fault, man. It's my own fault, Gotta come out on Monday. Oh, really, dude? Why? Why does the podcast have to come out on Monday? Because it's come out on Monday every time before that. Because consistency, dude. Because fucking the week that I'm like, oh, dude, it's going to come out on Tuesday this week. That's the week when the podcast is over. That's the week when the podcast has fallen in my list of priorities. And it's like, next week, it's going to be like, dude, maybe I'll do 2 next week and I'll just skip this week, That means I didn't skip a week, right? If I do 2 the next week, it's like, that's why every fucking Monday, all right? And that's why every fucking Monday before noon, dude. Sometimes it comes out afternoon, but every fucking Monday. Every fucking Monday. And that's just how it is, man. That's just how it is. If you want to start your own podcast, dude, guess what? Pick a day and do that every single day. Or not every, but every single of the day that you picked. You fucking asshole. Trying to fucking, you know what I'm trying to say, dude. You know what I'm trying to say. One of my friends, when I was in high school, he and I, and then another one of our friends would sit together, sort of like, in like history class or something. And he would often say things, this morning I was trying to, this is a terrible example, but he would say shit like, this morning I got into that, like that glass thing with the water where you like clean yourself, like, and then me or my friend would be like, oh, you mean a fucking shower, dude? You mean a fucking shower? And he would say, like, his comeback, which is incredible, he would say, did you know what I meant, you piece of shit? Did you know what I meant? You want to have an attitude? Did you know that I was trying to say a fucking shower, dude? Then shut the fuck up. Because if you knew what I meant, what does it matter if I said shower or not? You got the message. You got the fucking message, dude. And so you got the message just now, all right? So shut the fuck up, dude. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, you. Yeah, you. Uh, uh, what's going on, man? What's going on with the world? What's going on with you? Uh, what's going on, man? It's fucking the 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 other debates happened, and I genuinely have nothing to say about them this time. Um, there's there's still, you know, the facts are out, but the jury's still out, dude. Is that how you even say that, man? The jury is still out on COVID, man. It's got a 0.0002 ratio of fucking infection mortality, dude. But the jury, she's still fucking fingering herself in the bathroom, just waiting for somebody to catch her, you know? Just fucking, you know. She's fucking fingering herself, dude, watching a video of us just losing our minds, our collective souls being ravaged by lies and fucking manipulation, you know? Um, man, uh, I don't know, dude. I'm trying, you know, it's a good exercise for me to practice empathy and to fucking practice like not having an ego. But man, the kinds of things that I see just on social media, you know, from people that I know, dude, from people that I know, like this one person been away from social media for a while, you know, and decides to come back. And so they make this really long post, right, about why I was gone from social media and like my fucking anxiety and blah blah blah. And I was like, dude, I dig this. I dig this. I'm reading through it. I dig this. It's got right bullet points, right? Like fucking I'm sorry if I like haven't been in touch as much or whatever. And I'm just like, dude, this is awesome. You know, people being honest about their feelings and their struggles and whatnot. And then they decide to end the post, this very sincere and, you know, just very heartfelt message. They decide to end with, and keep wearing a mask and social distancing. The pandemic is not over. Uh, uh, it's not over, dude. When did it start? You know, that's my question, dude. That's my fucking question. When did the pandemic even start? Oh man. But you know, like that's the thing is right that for me to say like, oh dude, when did it start, right? And be an asshole about it is like knowing the facts. And the facts are readily available, but I could see how somebody would be like, that's fake, even though it's on the CDC. That's fake. I don't believe it. It's Trump. You know? And fucking uh and so like if they are genuinely afraid and trying to like help their friends or whatever, which I fucking doubt, but you know, if that's the case and it's not a virtue signal, then yeah, it's kind of a dick move, right, for me to make fun of them. But that's I doubt that's the case. Uh so yeah, man, I don't know. Pandemic, people are still up in arms about it. And dude, my fucking dude, this is the thing, you know? The pandemic, the one thing that's not the one, there's many good things about the pandemic. The main good thing is that it's fucking exposed just everyone, dude. It's exposed, you know, I mean, the government, in case you weren't already fucking like aware that they are just corrupt pedophiles. Uh they've exposed, and by the government, I mean politicians, not your fucking average government worker mom that's got 3 kids and is making $12 an hour. You know, that's not the kind of government I'm talking about. It's exposed them, sure. But you know who else it's exposed? It's exposed fucking airlines. Because I don't know about you, dude, but fucking Spirit Airlines can suck a fat one, man. It can suck a fat one. Dude, like 2 or 3 months ago, I booked a flight to Mexico, right? And I booked a flight for October 9th through the 19th. And it's a month away when I book it. So I'm like, dude, I'm excited. Blah, blah, blah. 2 weeks go by. I get an email that says, your flight's been canceled. Here's a credit. And it said, you know, the reasoning, it just said, COVID is a weird time. And fucking basically just blamed it on COVID, but didn't say specifically, you know, oh, there are new regulations in place. It was just like, COVID's a weird time. But United, Southwest, and American are still flying all of the time. You know, it could have said that. It could have said that, because otherwise, show me the regulation that says you need to cancel this flight. Oh, it's because you didn't sell enough seats on it. It's because you made a perfect flight. You offered a perfect flight. Dude, they're so fucking gross, man. They're so fucking gross. They put up this like ideal flight, you know? It's $180 or some bullshit like that for a round trip nonstop flight back and forth to Mexico. Round trip, I fucking redundant. Yeah, whatever. And so of course I jump at the opportunity, and I'm like, oh, a fucking 2-hour flight there and a 2-hour flight back for the price of my meat subscription, dude. For the price of my meat subscription, I can go to fucking Mexico for 10 days and get there in 2 hours. And that's how they throw the bait, right? And then there's a guy just slowly reeling it in, just waiting for a Mexican to fucking jump at it, you know? And but the thing is that they never reel you all the way in and then smash your fucking head with a hammer like they would a fish. They just keep reeling you in slowly and like, oh, he's uncomfortable. Oh, and they fucking let you go a little bit and try to swim away like you're going to get away. And then they reel you in a little bit more, dude. And that's exactly what they did to me, you know? They canceled my flight. All right, here's a credit. You can apply it to your next flight. And so I look for another flight, right? And I find one for November. I find the exact same flight, nonstop, 2 hours, round trip, and it's only $3 more expensive. And so I'm like, all right, fuck it, $3. It's basically the same thing. And again, it's a month after the trip I had planned, but I'm like, all right, dude, first world problems, suck it up, you know, you're still gonna get to go. And now it'll be closer to election time, so you'll get the fuck out of Dodge when everybody's losing their fucking mind. So all right, I make peace with myself that that's what I'm gonna do, and I make peace with myself, and then, you know, it's fucking, I think on like my birthday, dude, October fucking 3rd or something, right? The trip is for November 6th, and so on October 3rd, I get the same email that says, COVID is a weird time. We're fucking canceling your flight, you piece of shit. And then, you know, I'm like, all right. And the email says, you know, here's the same credit, whatever the fuck. If you would prefer a refund, Here's our fucking WhatsApp, dude. Our WhatsApp. Here's our WhatsApp so you can try and get in contact with us. And try is underlined, right? Basically. And so there I go, right? Like a fucking Mexican fish that I am. And I'm just like, hey, my flight got canceled. Can I get a refund? And then it's a fucking machine. And it's like, oh, enter your fucking confirmation number. And so I enter the confirmation. And would you like book a new flight with this? Or what would you like to do? And I'm like, fuck. So I sit there and I play like I'm fucking, like I'm a fucking idiot. And I go back and forth with this machine. And then it says like, oh, you want to speak to an agent? All right, we'll let you know when one's available. And I was like, how are you going to notify me of this? Is it going to, there's no waiting time. There's nothing, dude. Just we'll notify you when the next agent is available on WhatsApp from a machine, dude. And so I look up, because obviously their fucking support number is nowhere to be found on the email, because all that the email says is WhatsApp is a better way to get in touch with us because these days we're really busy. And it's like, oh yeah, motherfucker? Maybe stop acting like a casino. Maybe stop fucking stealing money. And so I find their support number and I call it, right? And then I finally get that machine to be like, all right, please hold. I'll fucking put you on with a real person. And then it plays a jingle, dude. I make myself dinner, eat it, and then brush my teeth before the jingle is over and somebody says, hello, how may I fucking help you? And I'm like, dude, at this point, I just want to fucking take all of my shit out on this guy. Right? And I don't know if he deserves it or not. I don't know if he deserves it. Maybe he does. He chose to work for a fucking casino. So you're representing the mafia, dude. You're basically a representative of the mafia. You should be in jail, is what you should be, because you're making money and a living off of somebody that is profiting on, reeling in Mexicans like myself. From a pond where water is drying up and resources are scarce, dude, because that's what we're in, right? And so I tell this guy, dude, I'm trying to get a refund. Is what I'm trying to get. My flight's been canceled twice. I already pushed my fucking trip a month because my trip was canceled. So I don't want to book another flight with you guys and then have it be canceled again, And he's like, oh, give me your confirmation number. All the shit that a machine does, right? He does all the things. He does all the reasons why he's replaceable. And then when he gets to the part where he's not replaceable, empathy and fucking being a good brand, dude. And I'm like, dude, listen, man. After all the fucking, he knows my name, he knows my confirmation, he knows where I'm trying to go, so he knows that I'm fucking Mexican, right? And you would think that, as a fucking minority, him being Indian, dude, he would understand the struggle of a half Mexican boy trying to go home to see his family during a pandemic, dude. And so he says, if you want to reach out to the back of house, you can send them a fax or an email or a real mail, and they will get back to you within 3 to 4 business days. And to me, that basically is like, go fuck yourself. That's what he's saying. He's like, oh, you want to go see your family? You want to go see your family? And your dad has diabetes and he's sick, and you want to go see your father? Yes. Well, go fuck yourself. But yeah, man. So I just bought a fucking flight on United, and that's the fucking end of that story, dude. The end of that story is that I got the shaft, and now because so I think if I decided to get a refund the first time, what they're saying is that I would have been able to, but because I purchased, hear this out, dude. Hear this out. Because I purchased my second flight, the one that I had to purchase because they canceled, with the credit that they gave me for the first one, dude, I can no longer get a refund. And I don't know why. I don't know why, dude. I don't know if I can why, dude, you know? I don't know if I can why. Because they want to keep it, dude. And because what they offer is not real, you know? And if it is, if it's real, you fear for your life on that airplane. I flew to Las Vegas last year on, I think, Spirit or like Sun American, you know, one of those fucking probably sister companies. And the guy, you know, the airplane pilot, airplane pilot, as we're landing, you know, it's almost like the fucking wheels went out from under the airplane, and he just started just skidding through the tarmac. And I was like, this is it, you know, this is it. Say your prayers. I'm that kind of person, you know. I don't know how fun it is to go on an airplane with me, because I'm the kind of person that is saying his prayers for the entire flight. And I'm sweating for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. I'm sweating, and I'm afraid, and I'm telling myself, this is the end. This is the end. And nobody's gonna care, right? Right? This is the end. People might not even find us. And so then people are gonna assume the worst, right? Oh, he ran away, or he's calling attention to himself because he's sad. And you know, the truth is going to be that I died a tragic death, burned alive in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. How did he burn in the middle of an ocean? Yeah, that defeats me, right? It happens, I guess. Maybe we landed in a tiny, tiny, tiny little island, and it was enough land for fire to exist, surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean, which I don't even know if we have to cross to get from Texas to Mexico. Probably not. Maybe it's probably the fucking Gulf of Mexico. You cunt. There was a hurricane, right? Is that a good transition? Hurricane Delta? Hurricane fucking, you know, Delta fucking bluff, dude. That's what it fucking dealt. It's yeah, I mean, I wasn't there, right? But I talked to a couple friends of mine, and they were like, I'm scared. I'm worried that this is gonna be worse than Wilma. And Wilma, if you don't know, was the fucking hurricane that fucking gangbanged Cancun, Mexico in 2005, when I was still a child living there. You know, like my dad saw somebody get fucking killed by like debris. It was that kind of hurricane. And so a group of my friends were saying that, and then my dad, I called him, and he was like, it's all fucking bullshit. It's all fucking bullshit. It's gonna die down. You're gonna see it's gonna die down, and blah blah. And then I hear after the fact from my stepmom that the two of them were like, they were thinking that it was going to destroy their properties, and that they were going to be fucked, you know, that they were going to be fucked. And then it turns out, you know, oh, it was a fucking 7-hour, you know, 150 kilometer or mile per hour wind or whatever, compared to Wilma, which was like 360, you know. But everybody's like, oh my God, the world's gonna end, right? Fucking like same shit as COVID, man. That's what it is that COVID has set a new baseline for how we react to natural things, you know? And let me say it right now, dude. COVID is a natural thing, you know? I guess unless it was actually like created in a lab somewhere, which I don't know or have evidence of, but assuming that it's just a fucking virus that happened, those things happen, right? We've got other forms of COVID that aren't 19, and and it's just something that our bodies, like, I guess from what I've heard, is something that our bodies are designed to fight through. And it's designed to wipe out the weak and to strengthen the strong. But yeah, Hurricane Delta, man. And I'm sure people are going to be like, it's climate change. It's fucking climate change, even though it was 200 miles softer than Wilma. And, you know, I don't know, man. That's the thing, right? Like, I don't have the wherewithal or the memory to talk about the wildfires because I didn't live in the US yet. But, and I think I heard this in one of the debates. I can't remember if it was the Trump one or the Pence one. But one of them said, like, you know, there aren't more hurricanes and wildfires and, you know, natural disasters than there were 50 or 60 years ago. And what I can say is that is true for the most part. I don't remember the whole thing with the wildfires. I mean, it being about, you know, them not being cleaned up, dude, and there just being a fucking, you know, you throw a match, dude, and there's so much dead wood that it's just gonna fucking, you know, become hell in 5 minutes. Number one, that makes sense to me. Number two, when I was in fucking high school or like grade school or middle school, there was Wilma, and then there was like, wasn't it fucking Haiti, like relief funds for Haiti? Yeah, I remember that. They got fucking, you know, almost wiped off the map. And then there was like New Orleans, you know. You think back, dude, and you're like, oh wait, dude, these were worse. You know, there was the one in Houston or Dallas, whatever, recently. But still, dude, do you remember fucking Katrina? Do you remember Katrina? Because I remember the videos, right? I remember the movies that were made. I remember just the fucking pictures of like a baby on the roof of his house, which was floating down a river. And you know, dude, people are just, I don't know, dude. It's I don't believe anything anymore. I don't believe any of it because I'm sure that somewhere on the internet there is a website with the facts, kind of like the CDC with the coronavirus infection fatality ratio. And I'm sure that there is a website somewhere that has like all the stats, and it's like, actually, dude, you know, there has been this percentage of natural disasters all throughout time, and that number hasn't changed. So fuck you. You know, dude. So that's what I have to say about that, man. That's what I have to say about that. Speaking of disasters, man, the food truck that I work at, right? They the owner put out a message and said, if we don't have a very successful fall, we might have to consider shutting down next year. And I found out about this yesterday. Or no, sorry, I found out about this on Friday. And, you know, oddly, I'm not like, you know, I was unemployed so shortly ago that it's not like, oh my God, my job. It's just like, dude, I keep boarding these sinking ships, you know. I keep boarding sinking ships, you know, Spirit Airlines, this fucking job. And yeah, I don't know. You know, the thing, you know, is that this is what's fucked, dude. You know, this is what's fucked. And this is what I meant when I said at the beginning of the podcast, boundaries are set and then they're fucking anally penetrated. So I set a boundary around what time I can come in, because the time I've got to leave, basically the time they wanted me to come in and then leave was like, oh, we want you to work 10 and a half hours. And I was like, fuck that. I'll work the standard 7.5 with no fucking lunch break. Right. And then the weekend that they decide to change my hours and I tell them that I can't is the weekend that they fucking put out a message on Instagram asking for people to come support the truck. And what happens, dude, is that now it's not just a 10.5 hour thing. It's I'm getting fucking, you know, deep throated the whole time, dude. Just fucking trying to take their orders and fucking make it. And I'm just all in there by myself, you know? And there's people that I'm like, yeah, you know, it's going to be 35, 40-minute wait. And in the back of my head, I'm like, closer to an hour. But, you know, so we practically doubled our sales from one weekend to the other because of that message. And, you know, positive is maybe it means that I get to have this job longer. But at the same time, it's like, you know, I know it's not personal. She didn't like plan this to sabotage my life. But it's just weird. You know, I say, oh, hey, I can't do this. And then they, you know, they still do that. And then it's like, oh, well, now I'm fucked. Now I got to do this, at least this weekend, you know. And of course, the owner leaves town right as they post this message. And so it's like, what's this all about, man? What's this all about? Are you trying to sink the ship, or is it just that where you're going is so much more important than your fucking business? You know, man. And I don't know, man. Fucking yeah. It was my birthday a week ago, I think. Yeah, it was my birthday last Saturday, and you know, it was a tough one, man. It was a tough birthday, and because I spent the whole day working. Then I got home, and I was just like, it was late, and I had to be up early to work the next day, right? And like I had a friend reach out and say like, hey, let me know if you want to hang out. Which, by the way, if your friend is ever, it's their birthday and you want to offer to do something, Don't just say like, hey man, if you feel like it, I'm around, you know. But yeah, I got home and I had not very much time or energy. So I was like, I think I'm just going to stay home. And then I was overwhelmed by like, you know, I had a phone conversation with my dad and my stepmom, and then my brother brought me a cake with his girlfriend, and we had like, we chatted for a while, and both of those things were really nice. And then I got, text messages from the rest of the people, but I was just overwhelmed by like how lonely my life is, right? Like, and I go back and forth sometimes on this because I live with my brother, but he's out of the apartment for 4.5 days out of the week, approximately. And there's the dog, right? There's Ellie, but she's out when he's out. And then I work pretty much by myself at my job. I'll come across my coworkers every now and then, which is nice. And I've got, the reason I go back and forth, I think it was pre-pandemic, I would go back and forth because I'm hard on myself. And so I would think, all right, is it really that I don't have the community that I want? Or is it just that my threshold, like the bar that I've set is too high, right? Like if I go 2 or 3 weeks without seeing a friend, whether that's because I've quit a job or started a new one or I've started writing a book or whatever, right? If I go 2 or 3 weeks, I start to feel like, oh, I don't have any friends and fucking nobody cares about me. And, all this pessimistic attitude shit. And then one weekend, I'll see like 5 different people and I'm like, oh shit, there are people that I care about deeply, that care about me deeply. And all I have to do is reach out. Like, all I have to do is be like, hey, you want to go fucking kick a ball around at Zilker Park? But with the pandemic, it's like there was that main hub, right, which was the Hideout Theater, where I did improv-comedy and I did all this shit and I met all these people. There was just that main hub of knowing, like, all right, if I want to, I could go to an improv show with any one of my improv friends because they're all going to be there. But then also, people don't want to leave their house. Some of my friends from that community, I had a fucking Zoom call with one of them, and I understand it's because you're afraid. Fine. But that's what I mean is the reality is like, oh, I can't just text somebody and be like, hey, let's go to this bar and grab a drink, or let's go to this place and grab lunch, or let's go to this place and grab tea, or let's go watch a movie. I can do all those things, but the amount of people that say yes now has diminished. And so I was just overwhelmed, man, on my birthday, thinking about, I am happy with the courageous things that I'm doing, right? Like sharing my truth, and like at this point I don't fucking care who knows about me, sucking older guys' dicks, man, and fucking, doing it to hurt myself and cheating on girlfriends. Like, I know why I did those things. And so I'm like, all right, that's an awesome thing that I'm like finally not as ashamed of that. And there's a lot of things that I'm happy about, I'm reading a lot, I'm writing a lot, dude. I'm doing things that I think are meaningful, is what I mean. But the community part of it is still lacking in a sense. And sometimes, maybe it's because I'm not putting the amount of effort that I should be because I value writing or my time and my alone time more. But still, it's something that I need to work on. Whether it's that or it's just I haven't found the right people, it's still something I can work on. And yeah. I don't know, man. That's the kind of how Philip McKernan said on that one podcast. I think it was episode 56, that the greatest pandemic right now is loneliness, not fucking COVID. Because, you know, it is, man, especially in the US. Like if I was living in Mexico, I wouldn't feel alone. I would have at least a handful of very close friends. And then also, you know, all of my dad's worker employees who I kind of consider like family in a way because I grew up with them. They've been my dad's employees for 30 years, 30 plus years maybe. And so, you know, there's always people around. There's always something going on. There's always like, hey, I'm going to go to the market. Do you need anything? Or there's tourists, right? There's people like walking down the beach because I lived on the beach. I could walk down the beach myself and see a bunch of people at hotels and, you know. And now I live in a fucking apartment and everyone in my apartment complex feels like a stranger to me. They all just feel like strangers. Some of them feel like stranger danger, you know. Some of them feel like get away from me, you know, or fucking be quiet. You're standing right outside of my bedroom arguing with your girlfriend. Be quiet, dude. Be fucking quiet. Yeah, and you know, if I go outside for a walk here, everybody's honking, everybody's speeding, everybody's like angry, and everybody's fucking just all pent up, you know. And maybe it's the neighborhood that I live in. Maybe it's just the things that I see that my eye fucking decides to focus on. But yeah, I've also just been reflecting on my life, you know. I right, like if I think back to 3 or 4 years ago, there is the desire to romanticize it, right? Because especially now that I wrote the memoir, if I look back on that period of time, there is still a part of me that romanticizes that year and a half, you know? And that's because part of the reason that I created that for myself is because I romanticized other forms of media that I had watched. So like Charles Bukowski, he was drinking and fucking, you know, having sex with women and like just a miserable cunt, dude, is what he was. But he was writing, and so I was like 16 when I fucking started reading his books, and I hated living with my dad so much that I was like, dude, this is the life I want, you know, and it's not that hard. All I got to do is get a job at the post office, right? And it's all sort of a way to escape from my reality. It's like, oh, if I can build Bukowski's life, then I won't have to build my own. And so yeah, I go back to the memoir, and it's like you know, I guess I felt sort of like adrenaline when I was cheating, and I felt like adrenaline when I was going out with these older men, dude, to perform sexual acts. And maybe the thing now is that there's not that sense of danger, and there's not that sense of instability within myself, you know. I've been single now for over a year. Yeah, almost 2 years. And I've been dating, but like I didn't just jump back into another relationship, which is what I did the last time. After the memoir, I jumped into another relationship. And so, I feel more like, all right, I don't have to relive that if I don't want to, you know? If I'm not sure about the person, I don't have to fucking just do it because and so maybe it's just, it's just that like my life is not as in chaos as it used to be. Um but I'm still rewiring that part of myself that's like, this isn't normal. If your life isn't chaos, you're doing something wrong. And yeah. I also just think back to, my childhood and the latter half of my childhood, because I've started writing about that more again. And there are so many things that just went under the fucking radar when I was writing my memoir, because the memoir was so like uh it's almost like, what do you call those movies where it's like all in one room? Very contained. It's not the word, but like it was very contained, right? It's about a specific year and some change in my life, and just how I started to unravel. Started to lie, started to fucking, just hurt myself and the people around me. And there's mention to my childhood, but as I've been going deeper and writing more specifically about my childhood and not so much in how it relates to something else, I uncovered, like, just this week, I was my whole life I didn't even realize that this was, I don't want to say sexual abuse, but whatever term you want to use, because it wasn't sexual misconduct. I don't know, dude, but like when I was like 11 years old, I went to the doctor in the US for the first time in my life, because my mom and my brother and I moved there. And my mom was like, you're going to get your first checkup, right? Like an overall health checkup. And so I went to the doctor, and I'm like sitting on the table or whatever, and he's like checking my ear, my heart. He walks away to his little machine, and then he turns around and he says, all right, drop him. And I was like, he's like, yeah, drop him. Take your pants off. And so I take my fucking pants off, and then he's like, yeah, your underwear too. With that that's how he said it. It wasn't like, all right, son, so now we're going to inspect your genitals and make sure that you don't have any tumors. If you feel uncomfortable at any point, like if you feel like your mom to be in here with you, like none of that, dude. It was like, drop them. Not yet, your pants and your underwear. And so I did, and then he comes up to me and he fucking, starts feeling up my junk and inspecting it. And there wasn't any, like, he didn't like look up at me and like smile or anything, creepy like that. So at the end of I think probably it was just some fucking guy that was like jaded, and maybe he thought it was, I don't know what he was thinking, dude, but it was like 30 seconds, right? He like inspected it and then basically said like, oh, looks good. I got dressed. But I didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't know if that was supposed to happen or not. And I don't know, man. Like I was talking to my therapist about it. He's like, yeah, that's kind of weird. But that's just something that, like, I remember I went back in the car afterward, and my brother and my mom were in there, and I told them about it, because I was like, I felt so uncomfortable that I had to turn it into something funny, but neither one of them laughed. And then I just kind of like, it just like got quiet in the car, and I sat back and I was like, and then shame overtook me, overcame me. Yeah, man. And so there's just so many things like that where I wasn't in control of my own body. And it was just like, oh, this old man doctor wants to fucking, grab a hold of my nutsack and feel it up for tumors. And I've got to let him, dude. And I've got to let him. Because I was afraid, because I was scared, man. I was scared to say no. And I was scared of, if I said no, then my mom's going to come in and I'm going to be the one that threw a fit again. And so I was always trying to avoid, like, I was always trying to avoid just being rejected by my mom and my dad. And to some extent, my siblings. I was just always trying to avoid being rejected, because that was like the common thing was, I have to be careful about what I do and what I say, because if I do or say the wrong thing, then I'm going to be rejected. Like that's what my life was like from 0 to 18. That is what my life was like. Yeah. And I don't know, man. What else have I been thinking back to? I'm at 51 minutes, man. It's weird to think that like in an hour and a half, I'm going to be fucking making people's food. And here I am talking about being felt up by a doctor. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just, on the one hand, I'm like, I've come far, right? And I'm happy with where I am right now. And on the other hand, there are things from my past that I wish I could integrate a little bit better into my present. And one of those is friendship, like I just, and maybe this is a part of growing up, I don't know, but like, I just wish that I could like text my buddy Chris and be like, hey man, you want to come spend the night and just fucking like play video games and like, or go outside, go for a walk and like, just be kids again. Because those were the highlights of my childhood, was fucking having 2 or 3 friends over, sometimes 3 friends over to spend the night. And, I only had a queen size bed, but we were going to figure it out. And so my friends would come over to my big fancy beach house. We would take the kayaks out, dude. My mom would make us bagels, and we would take bagels with us in a little fucking lunchbox. Bagels and water, and take the kayaks out, And mind you, they would come over at like 11 a.m. on a Saturday. Unless they came over Friday after school and they spent the night and then spent the night again. It was just like, we'd go on the kayaks, man. Then we'd come back from the kayaks and we could like go swimming in the pool, fucking play soccer for a while. And then, order fucking pizzas, go on a walk on the beach, just like looking for mischief, looking for coconuts to throw out into the ocean and see who can throw it the farthest. Walking to the corner store. Oh, dude, let's go to the fucking corner store to get, soda and potato chips. And the corner store back then was like a half a mile away. And, we're 10, 11, 12 years old. So that's like an adventure, We're going without my parents. And And then you come back and you've got this little baggie full of goods. And you're like, let's watch a movie, dude. Let's fucking watch a movie. And then let's play video games. And then, build our fucking, like, the bed on the floor. We would just build put a bunch of sheets and extra pillows on the floor. And that's where other people would sleep. So that it'd be like me and somebody on my bed and then two other kids on the floor, and we turn the lights off to finally go to sleep. But then you start talking, then you start like, dude, what do you think about this? Oh man, what do you think about this girl? Or you just fucking start talking about whatever, right? But there's this excitement and this desire to keep spending time together. Even when you're like, all right, lights are off. It's like, is there something I can do to be funny now that the lights are off? How can I keep my friends awake, or how can they keep me awake? Like, we always wanted to be together more and more and more. And now it's just like, hey, you want to go fucking to the park? And it's like, I can't. I already had plans. Or like, I got to work early tomorrow, or, That's probably the part of life that's going to be hardest for me to grapple with as I get older is, that's the one thing I'll say that I still prioritize that over other responsibilities at times. So for example, whenever the Trump and Biden debate happened a couple of weeks ago, or whenever that was, I went over to Chris's house and we watched the first half of it, laughing our asses off. And then his roommate shows up. She joins us. And now it's three of us. And she's yelling at the TV. He and I are laughing at her being upset. And then she's laughing because she's like, this is silly that I'm upset. And then it's over. And we start chatting. And then I remember I tell them about this movie that I saw a while ago because we were talking about like American crime. And they were like, should we watch it? And I was like, fuck, it's already like 10:30. And I was like, fuck it, let's watch it. I'm like, if it means spending more time with you guys, I haven't seen you in a while, and so then I ended up going home at like nearly 1 a.m. and going to bed at like 2. But yeah, it's like, it's worth it. It's worth it, man. And I wish that was more of the reality than oh no, I've got to be up, or oh well, it's getting a little bit late, or oh, I'm just feeling like my alone time, or, like bullshit that I say. Yeah. And yeah, I don't know, man. It's there's that's life, man. It's a quarter century. If I get to 100, I'm a quarter of the way through. And it's weird. When I was like 18, 17, I used to just joke around with my friends like, I'm probably going to die at like 27, 28. I'm going to die young. And obviously it was just a way for me to like draw attention to myself. But I don't feel that way anymore. I don't think that I'm going to die young. That's not to say I'm going to live to 100, but I think the only way that I could die is if I got in a fucking really bad bike accident, or if I killed myself, And I feel like I've minimized the bike accident possibility by the route that I take. And the other part is up to me, right? And so like that basically doesn't count. Yeah, man. Yeah. It's 25 years old. And dude, that's the thing about me. I'm a sentimental guy, That's something that's like very true, dude. I've been this way since I was like in my teens. I'm the kind of kid that's like fucking everything's got to be this like romantic idea about life. And some people hearing this might just be like, yeah, you're fucking 25, dude. Another year. Another year. Another tier. Another year, another tier. That's what I'll fucking call this episode, man. But what does fucking Stewie say to Brian and Family Guy all the time? He's like, I'm not gonna remember this, right? I'm not gonna remember this. But it's basically like big deal. Big fuck, dude, it's right there. Big whoop. Big whoop. That's what I was like, that's what somebody else might say. It's like you turn 25, big whoop. You know, fucking go to work, suck it up. Fucking yeah, man. But I gotta get to fucking work, dude. I gotta eat breakfast and get shit done. So that's the podcast. Thanks for tuning in. If you like what you heard, please subscribe, like, do all that bullshit. I've got a newsletter where I send people things, send writing prompts. If you're interested in writing, a lot of it is writing focused, whether that's books that I'm reading, the writing prompts, or writing tools. Like last week, I sent people this template for writing an outline for your memoir that Scribe Media provides for free. And it basically just says, ask your questions and you fill them in, and then you're like 100% more likely to finish and start your memoir, start and finish. So if something like that interests you, it's sendfox.com/NIKOAGF. And that's all in the links below. If you listen to this on iTunes, give it a rating, 5-star ratings really help. Or Spotify, wherever you're listening, just show it some love, so that more people can find out and more people can maybe somebody else is having their 25th birthday and they are thinking about killing themselves, and if they listen to this, they might be like, oh man, I'm not alone. But well, way to end on a downer. But yeah, man, thanks for tuning in. That's the pupil's life, and I'll see you next week.